All right, so Audiomodern's Playbeat 4. Huh. Looks like we've got a good one to dive into today. And good news for anyone listening who is interested, because it looks like right now it's on sale at Audio Plugin Deals.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a great place to pick up plugins.
They do have some killer deals there. It looks like they've got it marked down to $69, which is a pretty good chunk off of that regular $89 price tag.
Yeah, for sure.
But okay, sales aside, is it actually worth adding to your music production toolkit? Well, let's dive in and find out.
Right off the bat, what's got me interested is how Playbeat 4 is being described as more than just a drum plugin.
Okay.
People are saying it's a potential game changer for how we create beats.
Interesting.
And a lot of that buzz centers around its AI engine.
Okay, so we're not talking about a simple drum machine here.
Right.
What's so special about this AI? Does it actually write music for you?
Well, not exactly right in the traditional sense, but it can generate an almost endless number of drum patterns, sounds, and grooves.
Oh, sir.
And it does it in a way that's tailored to your needs.
Hold on. Endless is a big word. How does it even work?
Well, Playbeat 4 has this massive library of over 1,500 drum kits built right in, plus tons of pre-made patterns. The AI then uses all of that to mix and match, tweak, and generate completely new combinations based on what you tell it.
So it's not just like randomizing sounds.
Right.
It's actually taking your input and creating something unique.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting. There's this feature called genre-based randomization.
Oh, okay.
You choose a style like hip-hop or EDM or even jazz, and the AI makes sure the generated patterns actually fit that genre.
So imagine this. You need a drum track for a lo-fi hip-hop beat.
Yeah.
You select that genre and boom, Playbeat 4 cooks up a drum track with that classic laid-back boom-bap feel.
Exactly. No more struggling to program realistic drum parts or searching endlessly for the perfect sample.
Nice.
It's like having a studio full of drummers ready to play in any style you can imagine.
It's a lot of drummers.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty impressive.
Right.
But from what I'm seeing, Playbeat 4 isn't just about creating full drum tracks.
Yeah.
You can also use it for individual sounds, patterns, and even to control other plugins with MIDI.
Absolutely. Need a specific snare drum or kick drum? Playbeat 4 can generate those too. Want a killer drum fill to spice up your track? It can do that. And the MIDI control opens up a whole world of possibilities for integrating it into your workflow.
So whether you're building a song from scratch, or just need a quick drum loop, or even want to use it to trigger melodies or other instruments, Playbeat 4 can handle it.
And here's the kicker. The more you use it, the more it learns your style and preferences. So it's not just a static tool.
Oh, cool.
It evolves alongside your own creative process.
That's a pretty cool concept.
Yeah.
It's like having a musical partner that grows with you and understands what you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. And with all those drum kits, the ability to add custom sounds and even expansion packs for specific genres, the possibilities are pretty much endless.
So even if you're into something very niche, like 80s synthwave or cinematic orchestral percussion, there's probably a way to make Playbeat 4 work for you.
For sure. It's pretty flexible. It runs on Windows, Mac OS, and even iPad OS. And it works with all the major music software like Ableton Live, Pro Tools, Logic Pro, you name it.
So no matter how you like to make music, Playbeat 4 can fit into your setup.
For sure.
But let's be real here. The big question is it worth the price? Especially for someone who's already got a bunch of drum plugins and virtual instruments.
Well, that's where this deep dive gets interesting, because the sale on audio plugin deals makes it a much easier decision.
Oh, yeah, I know audio plugin deals.
Yeah.
They're like the ultimate destination for producers looking to score some amazing software on a budget.
Yeah.
I've definitely snagged a few deals there myself.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
So what are we talking about here price-wise?
Normally, Playbeat 4 goes for $89, which for what it does isn't unreasonable.
Yeah.
But on audio plugin deals, they're offering it for $69. That's a pretty significant discount.
Okay, now we're talking. That's a price point that definitely makes it more tempting, even if you're not 100% sure you need it.
Right.
What do you think makes this deal so enticing?
Well, it's a chance to get a truly unique and powerful tool at a price that's much more accessible. And when you factor in the AI learning and the fact that Playbeat 4 is constantly being updated with new features, it's an investment that could pay off big time in the long run.
I'm starting to think of this as one of those tools that you didn't realize you needed until you see it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly all these possibilities open up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Playbeat 4 is more than just a drum machine. It's like a creative partner, a sound designer, and a rhythm generator all rolled into one.
It is.
Okay, I'm sold on the concept. But now let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
What makes Playbeat 4's AI so different from other drum plugins out there? Is it really that intelligent?
That's a great question. And it leads us to the heart of what sets Playbeat 4 apart.
Okay.
It's not just randomly throwing sounds together.
It's actually creating rhythms and grooves that are musically intelligent and aware of the genre you're working in. Let's break down some of the key features that make this possible.
Right, let's get technical.
One of the coolest features is the groove control.
Okay.
It analyzes the subtle timing variations that real drummers use
Okay.
and applies them to the patterns it generates.
So it's not just about like robotic precision.
Right.
It's about capturing the feel of a human drummer.
Exactly.
I like that.
And then there's the accent editor, which lets you fine-tune the dynamics and emphasis within patterns.
Okay.
This gives you a lot more control over your creating grooves that sound natural and expressive.
It's all about those little details that make the music breathe right.
Absolutely. And speaking of making things sound more human, there's also the humanization feature.
Oh, interesting.
This introduces slight random variations in timing and velocity,
Okay.
which makes the drums sound less mechanical and more like a live performance.
So it's almost like having a real drummer in the room with you, responding to your cues in real time.
And all of these features work in tandem with that genre-specific randomization we talked about earlier.
Right.
So if you're working on a hip-hop track, for instance, the AI will generate patterns that have the swing and feel of classic hip-hop beats.
This is starting to sound less like a simple drum plugin and more like an AI music collaborator.
And that's exactly what Audiomodern is aiming for.
Okay.
They want to give musicians a tool that sparks creativity, helps them break out of repetitive patterns, and pushes the boundaries of what's possible with rhythm.
And to do all of that for $69 during this sale, I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
But there's so much more to unpack here. Let's dive deeper into the specific features and see how they can be used to create truly unique and groundbreaking music.
Let's do it.
All right, more to come after the break.
That's the exciting part. Playbeat 4 doesn't just give you great-sounding drums, it gives you the tools to create something entirely new.
Okay, I'm all ears. How do we actually use this thing to make music that stands out from the crowd?
One way is by taking advantage of the deep level of control you have over each drum sound.
Okay.
It's not just about picking a kit.
Right.
It's about shaping the individual elements,
Okay.
tuning the drums, tweaking the decay, even adding subtle variations.
So we're not limited to the pre-made sounds.
Right.
We can really get in there and create our own custom kits.
Absolutely. You can layer sounds, blend samples, even import your own custom sounds.
Cool.
Want a snare drum that sounds like a laser beam? Go for it.
Now you're speaking my language.
Right?
But sometimes all those options can be overwhelming.
Sure.
How does Playbeat 4 help you actually find those unique sounds without getting lost in a sea of menus?
Well, that's where the groove generator comes in.
Okay.
It's not like traditional step sequencing where you're just placing drum hits on a grid.
Right.
It lets you define the overall feel and swing of the rhythm in a much more intuitive way.
So it's more about capturing a vibe, a feeling, rather than just programming a beat.
Exactly. You can adjust the micro-timing, the swing, the humanization, all those subtle things that make a groove feel natural and organic.
Okay.
And then you can use the pattern sequencer to chain together different patterns and variations, creating arrangements that evolve and keep the listener engaged.
So instead of just looping the same 4 bars over and over,
Yeah.
I can create a drum track that tells a story, that builds tension and release, that keeps things interesting.
And with Playbeat 4's ability to generate tons of variations and remixes, you can keep that story going and going.
I like it.
Yeah.
All of this sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that I always struggle with when it comes to music production. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners can relate.
Yeah.
Sometimes you sit down in front of your computer,
Yeah.
all ready to make music, and nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Blank page syndrome,
Right.
total creative block.
Yeah.
It can be super frustrating.
The dreaded writer's block for musicians.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
So how does Playbeat 4 help with that? How does it spark those initial ideas, those little bursts of inspiration that get the creative juices flowing?
That's where the AI really shines.
Okay.
It's not just a tool for executing your ideas.
Yeah.
It's like a partner in the creative process itself.
Okay.
It can help you break out of ruts and discover new sonic pathways that you might never have stumbled upon on your own.
So it's more than just a drum machine. It's almost like a muse, a source of inspiration.
Think of it as a brainstorming session with a really fast, super talented drummer who knows every genre of music imaginable.
Okay.
You give it a few parameters, a tempo, a key, maybe a general style, and it starts generating ideas.
So I don't even need to start with a drum pattern. I
Yeah.
can just give it some basic guidelines and let it run wild.
Exactly. And what's great is that you'll likely hear things you never would have thought of yourself.
Interesting.
Rhythms that are outside of your comfort zone, patterns that push you in a new direction.
And then I can take those initial ideas, those sparks of inspiration, and mold them into something that's truly my own.
It's about taking the raw materials that the AI provides and shaping them into a finished product.
Cool.
Playbeat 4 takes care of the technical heavy lifting so you can focus on the creative side of things.
I can definitely see how that would be a huge time saver.
Yeah.
Especially those early stages of a project when you're just trying to get those initial ideas flowing. It's like having a secret weapon against creative block.
Exactly. It takes away that fear of the blank page and gives you a starting point, a foundation to build upon.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about inspiration, but what about the more practical side of things?
Right.
How easy is Playbeat 4 to actually use? How does it fit into a typical music production setup?
It's designed to be incredibly intuitive and easy to use, even for people who aren't super tech savvy.
That's good news for me.
Yeah.
I'm more of a musician than a programmer.
Yeah, me too.
So walk me through it.
All right.
How would I actually use Playbeat 4 in a real-world production scenario?
Well, first of all, it's compatible with pretty much everything.
Okay.
Windows, Mac OS, iPadOS, all the major music software like Ableton Live, Logic Pro, Pro Tools, you name it. You can use it as a plugin within your DAW or even as a standalone application.
So no matter how I like to work,
Right.
Playbeat 4 can adapt to my workflow.
Exactly. And it goes beyond basic compatibility.
Okay.
Playbeat 4 has really powerful MIDI output capabilities,
Okay.
which means you can use it to control other plugins and even external hardware.
So it's not just about triggering the internal sounds.
Yeah.
I can use it to control synths, samplers, drum machines, effects, anything that responds to MIDI data.
You got it. The rhythmic possibilities are pretty much endless.
Wow.
You could use Playbeat 4 to control a modular synth, a wall of effects pedals, even a light show.
Now that's thinking outside the box.
Right.
And I love that you can export the MIDI data so you can take those rhythms and use them in other software or even share them with collaborators.
It's all about flexibility and breaking down creative barriers. Playbeat 4 is a tool that can grow with you and adapt to your ever-evolving musical needs.
I love that. We've talked a lot about the creative side of things.
Yeah.
But let's get down to brass tacks for a moment.
Okay.
How about the sound quality?
Yeah.
Does it actually sound good?
That's a crucial question, and I'm happy to report that Playbeat 4 sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
The drum sounds are top-notch,
Right.
with a focus on both realism and sonic flexibility.
So it can do everything from vintage drum machine sounds to modern hard-hitting drums.
Absolutely. It covers a wide range of styles and genres, from classic 808s and 909s to acoustic kits, percussion, and even experimental sounds. And while it's not a full-blown effects processor, it does have built-in tools to shape the sound.
Like EQ, compression, reverb, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So you can adjust the overall mix, add punch to individual drums, create a sense of space. You can get pretty far with just Playbeat 4 itself.
That's great to hear. I hate having to rely on a million different plugins just to get a decent drum sound.
Yeah, I feel that.
And if you do want to use external effects,
Yeah,
the MIDI control capabilities make it easy to route the drums to other plugins in your deal.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about options and flexibility.
And speaking of options,
Yeah,
let's not forget about the elephant in the room,
right.
or rather the deal in the room.
Ah, yes, the audio plug-in deals sale. That's definitely something worth considering.
Now, we've talked about all these amazing features, but let's be real.
Uh-huh.
Price is always a factor,
Hmm.
especially for musicians who are often working with limited budgets.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this deal so special.
Yeah.
Playbeat 4 is a powerful tool even at its full price of $89.
Yeah.
But to get it for $69, that's a steal.
It's almost like they're giving it away.
Yeah.
For anyone who's even remotely curious about Playbeat 4, this is the perfect opportunity to try it out without breaking the bank.
It's a chance to invest in your creativity and experiment with a tool that could potentially change the way you make music.
Okay. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
But there's one last thing I want to touch on before we move on.
What's that?
The AI.
Right.
It's the heart of Playbeat 4, but there's still a lot of skepticism about AI in music.
Right.
Some people see it as a threat,
Yeah.
something that'll replace human musicians.
It's a valid concern. But I think it's important to remember that technology is ultimately a tool.
Right.
It's up to us, the humans, to decide how we use it.
So it's not about man versus machine.
Right.
It's about man with machine.
Exactly. Playbeat 4's AI is designed to augment human creativity, not replace it.
Okay.
It's like having a collaborator, a partner in the creative process.
It can help us come up with ideas,
Huh.
explore new sounds, and break out of our comfort zones.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still our vision, our emotions, our stories that drive the music.
The human element is what makes music meaningful. The technology is just there to help us express ourselves more fully.
And with Playbeat 4, we can do that in ways that were never before possible. It's like that old saying, it's a poor craftsman who blames his tools, right?
Right.
The technology is only as good as the person using it.
And in the right hands, Playbeat 4 can be a powerful tool for creating something truly special.
Okay, you've convinced me, but I have to admit I'm still a little intimidated by the whole AI thing.
Yeah.
Where do I even begin?
The best advice I can give is don't overthink it.
Oh.
The beauty of Playbeat 4 is that it's so easy to use. Just dive in and start experimenting.
So don't be afraid to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
Try things out. Make some mistakes.
Exactly. That's how you learn and discover new sounds.
Okay.
Play around with different genres, tweak the parameters, see what happens when you push the boundaries.
And all about embracing that playful spirit of exploration, right?
Absolutely. And don't just think of Playbeat 4 as a beat-making machine.
Okay.
Use it as a source of inspiration.
Okay.
Generate a bunch of patterns, listen with an open mind, and see what sparks your imagination.
So it's like having a creative partner who throws out a bunch of ideas, and you get to pick and choose the ones that resonate with you.
Exactly. And once you've found some inspiring patterns, don't be afraid to customize them. Lay your sounds, create your own drum kits, import your own samples.
This is where we can really start to personalize the sounds and make them our own.
Go crazy. Use field recordings, synthesize sounds, even record yourself banging on pots and pans.
Right.
The possibilities are endless.
I love that. It's about bringing that human element into the mix.
And don't forget about the MIDI control capabilities. Experiment with using Playbeat 4's rhythms to trigger other instruments and effects. See what happens when you use it to modulate a synthesizer or control a delay plugin.
So we're not limited to just using it for drums.
Right.
It can be the rhythmic brain for our entire production.
The key is to think outside the box. Playbeat 4 is a versatile tool that can be used in so many creative ways.
This is all starting to sound less intimidating and more exciting.
Good.
But before we let our imaginations run wild,
Yeah.
let's circle back to the deal on audio plugin deals one last time.
It's hard to resist a good deal, especially when it's on a tool as powerful as Playbeat 4.
Seriously, getting this kind of software for $69 is practically a steal.
It's a no-brainer for anyone who's serious about making music, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out.
I think this sale is the perfect opportunity to take the plunge and see what all the fuss is about.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe Playbeat 4 will be the missing piece you've been searching for, the tool that helps you unlock your full creative potential.
Well said. I think that's a great note to end on. It's been a fascinating deep dive into the world of AI-powered music production.
I've enjoyed exploring the possibilities of Playbeat 4 with you. It's truly a game changer for musicians who are looking to push the boundaries of rhythm and sound.
And for those of you listening, don't forget to check out the sale on audio plugin deals while it lasts.
Yeah, definitely do it.
You won't regret it.
It's a great deal.
Until next time, keep experimenting, keep creating, and keep pushing those musical boundaries.
And have some fun with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have fun out there.